So Joseph, welcome.
Thank you so much, Clemens, for your invitation. And just want us to tackle this topic. I think I'm glad that we have had some people joining. I know it's lunch hour, so it's a bit of a sacrifice, but we will, I'm sure the rest of the people will be able to join us. So Clemens had last time, I think that was last week, we introduced these discussions on insurance, and okay, we have somebody here who is very close to where I am, Pekron from Mamlaka Road. We're just close by here, so maybe he should have just joined me in the meeting room where I'm sitting. But anyhow, that's by the way. So we're looking at the importance of insurance generally, and research that Clemens and team did indicated that yes, an overwhelming majority of people felt that insurance was important. Clemens, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in the region of 97% or thereabouts. They felt that it was important, but 3% yes, felt that it was not important. But just like other studies have been done, yes, people know that insurance is important, but now the attitude towards insurance is the one that is usually sometimes negative. But from a summary of what I discussed last week, insurance is very important in our lives. And most importantly, again, the thing to note here is that if you look at the two types of insurance that I discussed, the life insurance and general insurance, each of them has a role to play in our lives. So insurance is not only important to us as individuals, it is important to us as a society. Why do I say as a society? Because a lot of you people might be added to WhatsApp groups today, tomorrow to changia for something. You might changiaring for medical expenses, which can be insured. You might be changiaring for burial expenses, which can be insured. You might be changiaring for a wedding. I want to tell you that if you are a young person and you're planning a wedding, we can actually provide you with a cover such that it can help you to be able to plan for future. So all these things can actually be foreseen and planned for. So insurance is actually very important. And what we need to do is to start from where we are. Where are we now? What is our income? What can we be able to afford in terms of insurance? So that's a discussion that we can continue chatting on and discussing. But today we want to focus on the area of retirement. And I don't know how old you are, but irrespective of your age, did you know that the day that you got that letter from HR giving you that appointment, the first job, you were actually supposed to start planning for retirement? Because that is how it goes. Time tends to move very, very quickly. So financial planning ahead is actually very important for us, and we need to be familiar with it, because we will see shortly that a lot of our people have not taken, especially in Africa, have not taken care of their retirement planning, and therefore they end up with very miserable lives. So if I might ask someone like, if I just look at the participants and I ask Tyrus Swires. Tyrus, are you there? Swire? Okay, they're not there. Then Sophia, are you there? Sophia? When you get on board, when you're able to get me, please let me know. Sophia is there. I can see you've unmuted. Sophia, please.
Yes.
Sophia, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very well. Are you glad to be here?
I'm excited. I'm not just glad. I'm just excited. I'm just excited to know how to plan.
How long have you been employed?
Huh?
How long have you been employed?
Is there something wrong with the sound, or is it on my side? Because
I'm saying, how long have you been employed?
The sound is low.
My sound is low. I
don't know if it's on my side, but I can't hear so clearly.
I was asking, for how long have you been employed?
I've been employed for, I'd say on and off, 10 plus years.
10 plus years, very good.
Yes.
So 10 plus years looks like a short time, but it's a reasonable time. Is that not so?
Yes.
So in terms of that, those 10 years, have you critically thought about your retirement, or have you been using the retirement planning from your employer?
Okay. Of course, when you're much younger, you tend to believe that you have so much time to work these things out.
Yes.
And there are some employment where, you might start something, but the job ends for one reason or another.
Yes.
So I've never really found it. What's the word? It has never really worked out for me from the employment side.
Yes.
So it's something that I realized I have to commit on a personal level, and not just wait for the company to do it.
Precisely. Good. So I think then we're starting this conversation on a good note, because even if the company is providing you with a pension, it's still good for you to take that personal responsibility, because the pension that the company will provide you will tend to be something very small. So this will shock you, but it is actually true.
Hello, I was present. Nice.
Because, you're present. Fine, I'll come to you. Just, it's good you're there. I wanted to ask you something. Is your father there? Your dad?
Are you speaking to me, Sophie?
No, to you,
sorry,
Sophie.
you're directing the question. Sorry, I could not hear. Or my father? No, my father passed away.
Okay, sorry about that.
He was the breadwinner, and that is where I learned how insurance is very important to plan for your children. He was the breadwinner, and he had really made sure that he had taken care of us very well at the time. But when he passed away, of course, the challenges came in.
Okay. That's understandable. So, of course, it's always good to pick the lessons from the life activities. So this will shock you, but this is actually true, that 80% of Kenyans will end up in old age poverty for failing to save adequately their finances. So the research has been done by the Retirement Benefits Authority, which has brought out very grim figures. The fact that a lot of Kenyans, after living a good life while they're still young and while they're working, they end up in old age poverty. Why? Because of the fact that they do not have funds to pay, to use in their retirement. Why is that so? It's actually what Sophia said, because we think that retirement is very far and we are banking sometimes our help on children and relatives. Now, if you're in my generation, I'm a little bit older, so my generation is probably the last generation that's taking care of their parents, because my children now, I do not expect them to take care of me. It is highly unlikely for them to take care of me. And now even them, they'll not be taken care of by their children. So we have moved in a society where kila mtu anapanga mambo yake. No one now will tell you, even if somebody has money, they'll not tell you, now my father has this or my son has this. It doesn't matter. They just don't connect on that level. So the thing is, we have to organize our lives, plan ourselves, so that we plan for our retirement very early. So again, why should we actually struggle to save for retirement? So number one is to maintain the standard of living. Remember, there's a standard of living that you're used to. There's a way that you eat. There's a house you live in. They're the things that you enjoy as a person. So for you to continue enjoying those things, you need to have money in retirement. Number two is having a retirement plan can be very important as a fallback on job loss. Now, picture back to 2020 February, running all the way up to last year, end of last year. People lost jobs. People lost jobs in hospitality. People were teachers. They lost jobs. a lot of people lost their jobs. Why? Because of the changed circumstances. Now, if they had a pension in place, they would have some little money to fall back to in case of the job losses. The other thing is that longevity in old age. We are tending to live longer than we used to live. So we're tending to live longer than we used to live, meaning that you require more money to be able to sustain you in your old age, unlike our forefathers. You see, right now there's a change in terms of technology, in terms of medical care, in terms of many other things. So people are living very long. The life expectancy, the last time I checked, was 67 years, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. So you can see that's an age. A lot of us that's the average age upon which we're able to live. And you can be sure there are a lot of people who are living to more than those years. That's why our life expectancy is very high. Some regions, like say Ukambani, the eastern region, the life expectancy is much higher than even other areas. So you can see that you will live long, and therefore you must plan for this long life. Remember, you are in this alone. Your children are not going to plan for you. Your relatives are not there for you. It is you to plan for yourself. The other thing is that having a retirement plan is important because it can give us a mortgage guarantee. What do I mean? The funds in a pension scheme can enable you to actually be able to acquire a house, which is something very positive. And we can go into those details at a later stage. Of course, saving in a pension scheme provides very many tax advantages. What do I mean? What I mean is that when you save in a retirement scheme, 20,000 shillings per month maximum is deducted from your gross salary before it is taxed. Let me give you an example. If you're saving 10,000 shillings and you're earning 100,000 Kenya shillings on a monthly basis, you will be taxed on 90,000 and not on the 100,000. What does this one do for you? It provides what we call efficiency in saving. So there are a lot of tax advantages, and you can claim up to 20,000 Kenya shillings per month or 240,000 shillings as a tax exempt amount. Sometimes people ask how some people become more richer than others. It is because they're able to take advantage of tax advantages. They hardly pay taxes. They use the available tax avenues to be able to enrich themselves. Then there is the savings culture. Being in a savings, doing that retirement planning enables you to have that culture to be able to save. So this is another study that was done by the Retirement Benefits Authority about the financial status in retirement. What I mean is, I have retired. The reason why I was talking to the other guy, I wanted to know whether there's anyone here who was a parent who was retired or know of a relative who was retired, and they wanted to share insights in terms of how are they in retirement. But since I couldn't get that immediately from the group, I want to just share these insights from the Retirement Benefits Authority. So imagine, guys, there are only 6% of the people who retire are actually financially independent. So what do I mean by financial independence? My office is close to Serena Hotel. What I mean by financial independence is that I can be able to walk there and take lunch right now without anything, without swiping a card, without doing what. I am independent. I can see something and I take. I am living my life. I am financially independent. I am not depending on anyone for anything. Then that is only 6%, which is a minority. There is 47% who depend on relatives. Hawa ni wale anangojea ikifika tarehe 2 ameshaanza kupigia simu huyu jamaa anaitwa Miriam. Anapigia Miriam, anapigia Sofia, anapigia Ludenyo, anapigia Tyrus. Anasema anagombana sana. Ati unajua leo ni tarehe 2, hujanitumia kitu, kwani unafikiria mimi nakula nini? That person is dependent on you as a relative. Could be your father, could be your cousin, could be your uncle, could be somebody like that. They are dependent on they're dependent on relatives. Then there are people who are organized enough and they have a pension. So they're also waiting for that pension check because they depend on it. Now there are those ones who cannot stop working. So they have to go back to work. The guy used to work as a military officer. Alikuwa mtu wa military, mtu wa jeshi. Inabidi sasa aenda kuwe askari tu wa kawaida tu aanze kuchunga mahali fulani. So this is the situation that we are in, guys. So for me, I want the people who are in this room to be in this yellow zone, to be financially independent in retirement, to have sufficient funds to pay for their bills in retirement. Okay? Then how sufficient is the money that you require in retirement? Now, a lot of people will tell you that you don't need money in retirement, but the fact of the matter is that you need a lot of money. Experts, financial experts, tend to put the figure at 65 to 75%. You had better be on the higher end, 75% of your pre-retirement income. So if you're earning 200,000, you require almost 150,000 to be able to live a comfortable life. So this is just an average amount. It will depend on your situation. If you are sickly, obviously you require more money. If you married late or got married late and you have younger children, you will obviously require more money. So depending on your circumstance, this figure might change, either plus or minus a few percentage points there. So, but a financial expert can guide you in terms of arriving at a suitable figure. So what are the main ideas when it comes to issues of savings? The two main things that you need to remember is that as you get to retirement age, retirement planning is about looking at your human capital. Right now, I believe nearly all of you are working. So you're using your human capital. You're using your human capital. You're using your skills, your knowledge to be able to get a return. So you're being paid for using your brain, for using your body, for applying your mind to the job. And then there is what we call financial capital. So financial capital is where now you're using resources to generate income that are not human capital in nature. For instance, you have a house where you're getting rent from. You have bought stocks, for example, Safaricom shares, KCB shares, where you're getting dividend and you're also getting to have capital appreciation. Or you have fixed deposits such as bonds or deposits such as bonds or bills. So the two things to remember, human capital. Now remember, human capital will start small. As you get employed, you'll be earning low salary. As you gain in experience, your human capital will go up. It will reach a peak at some point. I think the most people reach a peak at the age of say 40 or 45, and then it will decline. By the time you reach 60, then your human capital is at zero. No one wants to talk to you. In fact, at the age of, there's an age where everyone wants to employ you. You keep getting offers from different people. But there's an age you reach where no one wants to talk to you. The age of about 40 to 45 there, unless it's a very senior executive positions, no one wants to talk to you. But there's an age where everyone wants you to come and join them in their company. Now, it means that as you need to use your human capital to build your financial capital. So you need to use what you're earning to be able to own a home, to be able to buy stocks, to be able to invest in other skills, because you will keep on losing your human capital skills. So the most powerful weapons that you have when it comes to investments are three. Number one is time. Number two is compound interest. Number three is the regular disciplined saving. So what are we saying here? We're saying that time is what gives you, you need time to be able to accumulate a saving and be able to carry out investments. You need compound interest to be able to grow your funds. And then you need to be very regular and disciplined in your saving. And that's how come insurance helps you it provides you with a regular and disciplined way of saving. And there's a cost to procrastination. If you do the maths, you'll find that if you don't invest at a particular time or delay taking an investment decision, then of course you will lose out a lot. If you want to know, if you have ever thought about buying land or buying a plot, and you thought about this 5 years ago, go and look at the price of that plot, and you can calculate the cost of your procrastination. The plot might have been 50,000, but right now it's 500,000. So it has costed you 450,000 for that delay, for that lack of decisiveness in purchasing that particular plot or investment. If you needed to buy a share, the share may have been 5 bob. Right now, the share is probably 35 bob. So that is the cost of procrastination. It's very expensive. So what can threaten your financial security? Number one is inflation. Inflation is a major threat. Right now, our inflation is very high. That's how come for people like myself from Western Kenya who love taking ugali, the cost of a gorogoro of unga may have been 90 shillings same time last year. Right now, the cost is probably 150. So inflation is a major threat towards how we need to become financially secure. Healthcare. Now, we always tell people to make sure that they plan well for their healthcare, both while they're working and even upon retirement, because most health conditions start showing themselves up at much older age. Estate taxes. Remember that the taxman does not care. They want their taxes, whether you are dead or alive. So your estate, whatever you built in terms of your estate, will be depleted because KRA will be looking for money. So they'll have to deduct estate taxes from what you want to give out. There are withdrawal penalties. So this again can act as a deterrent to you towards saving, and then there are income taxes. And all these things can be taken care of in one way or another. So the key things to consider when it comes to issues of retirement is to be able to have a good understanding of the concept of investment, which you've looked at. The other thing is that you can consider purchasing annuities. And I know that we'll be having these sessions on and off. So at some stage, we will talk about these products called annuities. But annuity is just a way in which you can get an income for your lifetime. Then there are alternative investments that we can consider. We can consider things like buying and selling of shares or equities. And of course, if we have an entrepreneur mindset like my friend Clemens, then we can be able to start up a business. So these are the key considerations that we need to consider. Then in terms of, so we need to optimize our profitability while maintaining liquidity. So make sure that you're liquid, you have enough money to be able to run with. Then we need to reconcile risk and return. Remember, the higher the risk, the higher the return. But the lower the risk, the lower the return. So you have to look at a way in which you match risk and return. Then you need to match the between the cost of capital and the return on that capital. So these are just a few ideas that you may need to look at. So what do we need to keep in mind? Number one, plan for a long life. God is going to bless you with a very long life. You will be surprised that you will live much longer than your shosho or your guka. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. But if you have to put your eggs in one basket, then you need to watch those eggs very carefully. You've seen the way the cuckoo looks at their eggs and becomes very hostile if you try to touch them. You've seen the way snakes, crocodiles, and all the animals that lay eggs, how they become very defensive on their eggs. They are simply watching on their eggs to make sure that no one takes them. So diversify your retirement investments. Diversification is important because it will help you to be able to minimize on your risk. So between conservative investments and aggressive investments, you need to be careful on that. So you need to anticipate inflation, and more importantly, you need to get advice. Get advice where you feel that you are short. Get advice so that you make the right decision. It is amazing that a lot of us are in chamas, paying a lot of money Yet these chamas, if you check properly, you might find that the risk is actually very high for a chama. You may say, these are my friends, but the number of people I meet who tell you that there's a guy who went away with their money and there's nothing they can do about it is very high. And there's nothing really you're getting because you're just taking the money around. So you need to consider getting advice in terms of what alternative investments that you can consider. So what are the alternative investment options? You can start a business. You can consider real estate investments. You can consider equities and debt securities. You can consider unit trust funds. And then, of course, there's at retirement, you can consider what we call an income drawdown. So this was my initial intro session on this particular item. So is there any comment? Because I have now a session that talks about the pension. So is there any question? You can put it in chat or just ask. Team, do we have any question? I'm not seeing anything. Be in a position to pay all your... okay, this is very good. If you have any questions, be in a position to pay all your bills at retirement. Thank you so much. This is very nice. You need to be in a position to pay all your bills. Which bills do you have? You need to eat. You need housing. You need clothing. You need transportation. You need health care. All these things, you will need them at retirement. So what a good place then to start on consideration regarding the product that I want to consider. So any other question or comment? I like this particular comment that came through. Guys, we are quiet. Keron, any comment?
Hi, Joseph, and hi, everyone.
Hi, Keron.
For me, I think it's actually a very interesting presentation and conversation. I'm also learning something. Thank you for that.
Okay, I could also give a comment.
Yes, Clemens.
I happen to have both of my parents who are retired, and of course in the upcountry. And okay, they somehow were civil servants and therefore have some small pension that they receive, but it definitely is not enough for them. So the children, those of us who are around them have to keep chipping in and helping. And I just saw that comment that Joseph was saying that as we continue to age, we are getting out of the age where children will help their parents. It's quite a reality, because even right now I can see the attitude which my brothers and sisters would have towards helping their parents, and I know it's not a very easy thing. So yes, indeed, that time is coming and you may not have anyone to assist you.
Thank you. So that brings that into context. So for you, you're still in that generation that is still helping the parents, but you can see already the pull and push. If you're many children, there's one who comes out, helps, but there could be others who are not helping. Then remember again what she has said in terms of the size of the pension. Can you imagine that a whole permanent secretary, someone who used to be permanent secretary, mtu akona askari wanamlinda, akona nyumba ya serikali, akona all those things, akona bodyguards. Can you imagine such a person, if they were civil servants, their pension is based on a basic salary. They probably are getting 20,000, kama wanapata nyingi, ama 15,000. So you can imagine that primary school teacher who retired earning 10, 15,000, they probably are getting 3, 4, 5,000 shillings. Now tell me what 3, 4, 5, 6,000 can do. If they fell sick today, the consultant physician might probably ask for 3,000 for consultation fees. So put yourself in that scenario and see that you need quite a bit, you need to plan well for retirement. And